So part number 4, illness that is not life-threatening. Illness that is not threatening is a patient whose illness is not life-threatening. Okay, here we go. But who is ill enough to meet one of the following criteria. So meaning, like as we said, fever, like flu or something, like light, like most of the corona cases, they were not life-threatening unless somebody had different other conditions, like different complications. So I mean, you feel bad, and when I was sick, a few times I thought that I'm going to die, but Baruch HaShem, it was not that bad. Okay. Continue, but it helps with teshuva. Yeah, it helps with teshuva. To be a little scared of death always works well. Okay. So A condition. The condition is one that requires bed rest. For example, flu or chest congestion. Okay. So meaning in this case, person in that category, as long as the individual requires bed rest, he is considered this person whose life is not in danger. So a sick person, but life is not in danger, as opposed to lesser category. So every time, so even like a person have a headache, like severe like migraine, and a person cannot just stand. Okay, yeah. So, and I know people like that. So of course, some people who never have migraines. So what is the problem? So a little headache. So be toughen up, right? No. A person cannot stand, like the head is spinning. Understand? So a person needs to lay down. That's how serious sometimes it is. Okay. Right. And even if he or she is capable of getting out of the bed and walk around. So, but most of the time, a person feels so bad, like or some infection or something. So infection, so the whole body is fighting this infection. Of course, they put a cream, this and that, but still like a very, very weak person, like a very weak condition. So in this category. Okay. So even though they go to the bathroom, they go to eat if needed, but I don't know, towards their teeth or brush their teeth, but still need to rest. So it's second category. Next one, the condition causes internal intense pain that weakens the entire body. For example, migraine, headache, and severe earache. Yeah, okay, well, we said that, I mean, I combined two, but yeah, that's, they give another example. Even earache, they said, like, what is the problem? Why do you have to lay down if you have earache? But also, I had the earache, like, for many years. It suffered like needles, like pierce you through your head. So yeah, yeah. So those are two. Those are two categories. Those two examples. Okay. So next one, A. What is permitted to do for Chol she'ein bo sakana? So this is the second category, right? So for first category, we said like there is very simple. You personally must put aside Yom Tov and do or Shabbos. Shabbos is the same, just so you know, all the same halachas. We'll see what is the difference on Yom Tov. I mean, I think on the second day it would be, in some cases, would be a little lenient. But otherwise, I think it's the same, right? So for first category, there is no like examples. You need you must do everything. But for the second category, let's see, what is a Jew permitted to do? So a Jew meaning like from the title, you understand that you must you would be allowed to ask a Gentile to do much more, okay, if needed. Okay. So it says, Jew is forbidden to transgress biblical law for the benefit of Chol she'ein bo sakana. So this person whose life, he is sick, she is sick, but life is not in danger. So biblical laws is out of the question. So here is very, very handy, would come very handy our knowledge. What is the biblical law, what is the rabbinic law? right? So again, it is forbidden for transgress a biblical law for the benefit of Chol Shein Bo Sakana. Okay. However, one is permitted to violate rabbinic law. Okay. And rabbinic law. This act should be performed with a shinui. There is deviation from the manner in which it's usually done. So rabbinic law, but not only rabbinic law, it's a plus. You would need to do it in a way that it's not usually done. So we're going to discuss, give examples. Could you mute your microphone, please? This is permitted even in a situation where a non-Jew is available and to perform the same act. So meaning, if it's a rabbinic law, so here is already like start to split, right? If it's rabbinic law, you allow, as a Jew is allowed to do whatever is need to be done for that sick person whose life is not in danger, but not a straightforward way, like with deviation, shinoi, right? But a non-Jew, if you ask a non-Jew would be allowed to do it like straightforward way, at least for a rabbinical, but I think even for biblical. But let's see. There is one note. Actually, let's finish the text and we go to the note. If the act cannot be performed with a shinoi, a Jew is nevertheless permitted to do so. In the situation, however, if the non-Jew is available, a non-Jew should be instructed to do whatever is necessary. So in this case, it's one of the cases, first of all, because it is rabbinic, right? Rabbinical. So you would be allowed to instruct the Jew, the non-Jew, in straightforward way what needs to be done. Okay. So let's see commentary. Note: there is an exception to this rule. If one is not permitted to perform, which is rabbinically like melacha that which is rabbinically prohibited, for a Chol Shein Bo Sakana. One more time. One is not permitted to do melacha, which is rabbinically prohibited, for Chol Shein Bo Sakana, meaning that the person whose life is not in danger, because this melacha is performed for the purpose other than the purpose for which it was performed in construction of tabernacle, Mishkan. One example, extinguishing a light in order to darken a room. During the construction of the tabernacle, flame was extinguished in order to produce the coals for the cooking. Thus, turning off the incandescent light for the sake of the darkening the room is always rabbinic prohibition. Nevertheless, the poskim deemed this melacha as more serious than other rabbinic prohibitions, since the same action may sometimes entail biblical violation. Therefore, it is forbidden for a Jew who is right in this category, in this category for a patient whose illness is not life-threatening. I'm not sure why would they say so. So let's read one more time and try to understand. So he's saying that, however, he's commenting on his own saying that, however, one is permitted to violate rabbinic law. So rabbinic law, we said, with a shinoi, right? Not straightforward, but sometimes there are rabbinic laws, and rabbinically, so if person does whatever the same action that it was done in a Mishkan for a constructive purpose, right? For a constructive purpose, it is on a biblical level, right? But if he does for not constructive purpose, destructive purpose, or whatever other purpose, it's not on a biblical level. It's on a rabbinic level, but it's still forbidden, but on a rabbinic level. So the example that he gives is turn off the light. So turn off the light. So incandescent light bulb, we compare it to fire. So LED is not fire, but I would say they are still forbidden rabbinically, right? So okay. So in the Mishkan, the melacha was to extinguish, to fire up the wood, then extinguish the coals, and then next time when they start the coals, like they would give much more heat. So when you need to melt something, or gold, silver, whatever they were melting. So was for positive results. So you were extinguished, but it was for positive result, right? So when you just extinguish like flame for nothing, you have a candle and blow the candle, it's not like for whatever reason. So that's not a biblical prohibition, right? You did not right, but you transgress rabbinic one. Okay. So what is the point that he's nevertheless poskim more serious? So but poskim say don't do it. Okay, because same action, but poskim said don't do it because same action could be biblical or rabbinical. So for constructive purpose, it will be biblical. For not constructive purpose, it would, or for different purpose than it was done in the Mishkan. So it would be rabbinic. So okay, so they say our poskim say don't do it. So it is rabbinical, but it's different rabbinical. So rabbinical, I guess, when the rabbis put the fences around the melacha, that's would be they would allow us to violate. Okay. Okay. So it was B. A was what the Jew is permitted to do. Okay. So and we say Jew is permitted to do, as we said, to violate this rabbinic melacha, but not all of them, and or he can ask not and do it with a shinoi, or he can ask or she can ask a non-Jew to do it in a straightforward way. Okay.